we'll have a show then. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Let's get started. Earlier this morning, President Biden agreed to a pair of debates with former President Trump. Biden has listed some demands, including no live audience, no third-party candidates, and a group of visiting angels on standby. But no live crowd? I guess Joe wanted an audience of his peers. But Trump not only agreed to the two debates, he offered a third one on Fox News with Martha MacCallum and Bret Baier as hosts. But not to be outdone, Biden offered a fourth debate with Walter Cronkite and Peter Jennings.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
Meanwhile, President Biden had an odd moment at a gala in D.C. last night where he acknowledged an attendee. Listen to this.
Where's Artie? Where is she? Stand up, kid. I like that dress. Let him see your gown.
Let him see your gown? Well, turns out this is who he was talking to. And that wasn't even the weirdest thing Joe said. Watch this.
They want to undo what they finally got done. And then what we finally got done is to make up for it. They want to give power back to Big Pharma.
Joe, be careful what you say about Big Pharma. You're going to need him for that pre-debate adrenaline shot in your ass. What the hell? Mayor Eric Adams is suggesting migrants could solve NYC's lifeguard shortage because, quote, they're excellent swimmers. He also said some of the men would be great surgeons because they're so good with knives. I know. The White House says it's using executive power to allow border wall construction in Texas. They're planning on saving money by employing the scaffolding previously used on Nancy Pelosi's face. Today is National Nylon Stocking Day. Yeah. Yeah, but many New Yorkers were already celebrating. 69-year-old Gayle King is making her Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue debut in a sizzling one-piece bathing suit. Other models include Randy Weingarten and the Elephant Man. Rachel Maddow mocked Trump's allies for dressing uniformly like Trump at yesterday's court appearance. This from a person who's dressed like Jason Priestley on 90210 every day for 20 years. And the 148th Westminster Kennel Club dog show was last night, and this won Best in Show. Check that out, huh? Can you see it? I haven't seen that much grooming since P. Diddy's pool party.
Oh, no.
Hashtag no Diddy.
Yeah. All right. Our entertainment elite are starting to realize that the dreaded virus could come back. Do I mean COVID, bird flu, Will Smith? No, it's the orange scourge, Donald Trump. The latest poll numbers hit America's self-appointed tastemakers like Ann Hesh out for a Sunday drive. Ooh, I know. On the beaches in Malibu, the slopes in Aspen, and the TV studios of New York, the tantrum has commenced. And like Joy Behar's toe fungus, it's getting ugly. These are not strong people. They're coming apart like Jesse's weave on a rainy day. You should see him chasing it down 6th Avenue. God, he's pathetic. So while these Hollywood celebs can demand rewrites of Bambi, replacing the deer with a non-binary emotionally support peacock, they're learning yet again that real life writes its own script. And right now, there's a new director in town, and it looks like he's getting the final cut. Exhibit A, Robert De Niro, who's been playing the same angry uncle with hemorrhoids for the past decade, went on The View and claimed Trump will end the country as we know it. Have a look.
I don't understand why people are not taking him seriously. Because you read about it historically in other countries that they didn't take the people seriously. I think Hitler, Mussolini. But if he gets elected, it's going to change this country for everybody. And they might think that it's going to make their life better, or they just want to, excuse my French, They just want to with the rest of the country. Literally.
That wasn't French, by the way. But he knows so much about history, and yet this poor old man doesn't know that Trump actually gave up power when he lost. No wonder Bobby went into acting. Reality isn't his forte, but fantasy is. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of keen political insight, I definitely think of the star of Meet the Fockers, ranting to 5 frigid dingbats. But like De Niro's movies, it just went on and on.
Those people who support him with anger and hate, because that's what he's about, they're going to see. I mean, I used to see these things. I didn't understand how he and Rosie O'Donnell used to get it. Didn't really care. Yeah. I see what a hateful, mean-spirited, awful thing he is. What more do you need? It's almost like he wants to do the worst that he could possibly do to show this country to with us. His slogan should be America.
It's amazing that he's still thinking about Rosie O'Donnell. Is that the cause of concern, Bobby? An angry, aging has-been, desperate to stay relevant? I'm talking about De Niro because I didn't say fat. Any more nonsense to add, Bob?
Imagine if he actually did win the election.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
We're going to have such civil strife. We're going to all the things he says because everybody's now on to him where he projects what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's what he wants, what he envisions the world to be, which is chaos and craziness, total craziness.
Will someone please show Bob a doll and have him point to the place where Trump hurt him? We're going to have civil strife? Under Joe Biden, Jews can't go to class and illegals are attacking cops and getting away with it. It's amazing how this nut is focused on things that haven't happened versus things that have. Here's some things, Bob, that you don't get upset about. Rising crime, violence against women, Jews and kids, illegal immigration, fentanyl, inflation. Perhaps because those concerns inhabit reality, and reality is not Bob's turf. And so his mental shelf space is taken up with hypothetical calamities and old slights. No wonder he hasn't made a decent movie in decades. In his mind, Jodie Foster is still a hot 13-year-old. So while De Niro rants, Americans are far more concerned with jobs, safety, and border security, not Trump's personality. Americans are more interested in how to put food on the table, or in The View's case, how to put more food on the table. Fact is, De Niro is scared, much like all of Hollywood, because they no longer control the narrative. The average American isn't buying what they're selling. Their influence is waning. They've learned they really aren't special, just like I told those kindergartners at graduation. And it's making them impervious to their own behavior. They sound crazy to everyone but themselves.
Donald Trump, who is so aware of everything his face is doing, leaves his face with his eyes closed, in tortured, elderly shapes when he drifts off into his closed eye space. His mouth shifts from its preferred scowl to the look of a collapsing old building. The mouth loses all shape. The lips become unrecognizable by the wrinkled curves that they take under those closed eyes. The old man sitting there in the defendant's chair, head tilted back to the right, eyes closed, made it look like a trial at a nursing home. If he were found like that in his chair at a table in the nursing home during lunch, he would be immediately checked for signs of life.
Enough about your viewers, Larry. Half of whom died while you were talking just now. And this is from a guy who's 5 years younger than Trump. But that's insanity. You can't see it when you're in it, and that's why they look crazy. But we don't. Why is that? Perhaps it's because we have lives outside of politics and lives outside of Trump, and they don't. And their irrationality only persuades dopes also prone to irrationality, which explains why normal men are fleeing the party like it's a Lizzo kissing booth. Which brings us to Sunny Hostin, the hottest member of The View since Barbara Walters died.
Oh, my God.
This is really
Here's her analysis of Trump in the courtroom.
Oh, my
I was in the courtroom again yesterday. Yes, thank you. He appeared orange, in an unnatural way. I'd never seen anyone that orange before. He is not asleep. He's enraged. And that's why I think he's so orange, because I think it's red underneath. I saw him during Michael Cohen's testimony sort of going like this. And I said, oh, here's he sleeping. And he went. That is what's happening. So
my dog does that when he's sleeping.
When he's sleeping?
Yeah.
He's not sleeping.
Joy is playing dead, so you won't eat him. But that's impressive. ABC actually sent her to the trial, and all she got out of it was, he's orange. How deep? I've seen smarter heads on golf clubs. She can only focus on Trump's skin color. I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the slaveholder's tree. Was it her grandparents, I guess? But they're all a mess. These hacks are falling apart like Bette Midler's vibrator from years of overuse. Hey, look, Black & Decker just don't make them like they used to. But they're unhinged because Trump shattered their narrative. For years, they painted him as the villain in their story. The story in which they, of course, are the heroes. They thought the third act was over and the credits were rolling. The villain was vanquished and our hero rides off into the sunset. But they didn't account for Trump's popularity among average Americans, the people who actually work for a living. It's the plot twist they didn't see coming. And understand, America, that's why they also hate you. Because if a guy who gets you is elected president of their country, then they weren't really that special to begin with, were they? You ignored them in 2016, forcing them to take a look in the mirror, which is terrifying when your industry is based on looks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.